them up.
No, me. Didn't catch him.
What is going on here?
Oh, dear, it seems we spilt some milk.
Obviously.
But we don't cry about spilt milk in this house, because tomorrow the cow knows that...
But what was all that about catching someone and then gobbling him up?
We were just playing a little game.
We were making believe the mother Sam was a monster and my hand was a little boy and the monster was trying to catch the little boy, and if we caught him, it was going to carry him off and...
Fitzjames! Control yourself, boy. So, in spite of anything I may say to the contrary, these fantasies keep going right on, huh? Make believe from morning till night. If there aren't Indians in the backyard or things in the night, you're actually pretending to understand what the birds say. Well, it isn't common sense, it's not rational, and by the Lord Harry, I intend to put a stop to it.
But it's harmless fun.
Harmless, it is not harmless. In this year of 1903, all we have to cling to is common sense. Common sense. That's what's going to save us, if anything can. I swear I don't know what the world's coming to. Even the government's gone mad. Do you know what those politicians in Washington spent last year?
No, dear.
$541,000. More than $500,000 thrown away in 1902 just to run the government. And that's not all. Now, what do you suppose, Flying machines. Don't contradict me. Last Thursday, two young lunatics by the name of Wright, I think, yes. The Wright brothers. They took this contraption they put together and they flew. And now, what do you suppose this article says? In a few years, we'll all be flying. There's a real fantasy for you.
Flying. Up in the clouds with the birds.
That will do, young man. It's high time both you and your sister stopped all this dreaming and got some good old-fashioned horse sense. And that reminds me, Mother, about that Santa Claus business.
James!
What about Santa Claus, Mother?
Nothing, darling. It's time you children were playing in the snow. James, you promised.
I said I'd think it over. Well, I have thought it over. I'm not going to get dressed up in any red suit with a long white beard.
But, James, they'll be heartbroken.
Why? Why should they have to believe in one more fantasy? They'll be their presents as usual. The difference is, this year they'll know they came from you and me.
But, James, if you love them...
I do love them, and I intend to do my duty by them. They're going to be brought up in a world of reality. And I must say, my dear, that your attitude is very confusing. You actually encourage them to live in this dream world of theirs. It's time you grew up too, by George. I wish I could stay here all day and play in the snow with you.
What did Father mean about Santa Claus?
Oh, nothing, darling. He was probably thinking about flying machines and how Santa drives his reindeer through
I
the
don't think
sky.
that's what he was thinking at all.
Look, why don't you two build a snowman? When I was little, we used to build the most beautiful snowmen, big as real people. And when we were all finished, we would pretend that...
You used to pretend, too, didn't you, Mother?
Go build your snowman.
You know, I'll bet Father didn't pretend when he was a little boy. Do you mean to say Father was a little boy once? Of course. But years and years ago. Can't we put his body on now? I'm not ready. I've not finished his legs. You take too long. I'm making him just like a real live man. Oh, goody. Then he'll do tricks for us. He'll dance and make funny faces and Violet, pretending. You know what Father would say. By the Lord, Harry, children, it's time you two got some good old-fashioned horse sense. I don't think horses have much sense anyway. There he is, the best snowman in the world. Well, he ought to be. He's taken all day. He's worth it. He's perfect. You know what? I'm going to give him a heart. Everybody has to have a heart. How can you possibly make a heart? Got one right down here if I can get down to it. Your own heart? Silly. There. Oh, that. Well, it's the heart, isn't it? Gee, I gave him 2 left feet. Now he's got a heart like everybody else. Only it's a heart of gold. And people with hearts of gold must be very, very nice. So when we ask them to do tricks for us and... to pretend such things. Then such things better not nod their heads at us. Father says it's time for us to stop dreaming and grow up. He is alive.
Just what I was thinking myself. Yes, I am alive, by Jiminy. Oh, that should be fun for all of us. Yeah. Oh, these eyes. Oh, conventional, I grant you, but do you mind if I make a little alteration? A little bit off here, a little bit off there, and the nose. Oh, the nose. Let's have a bit more of the classic profile, eh? Yes, get this away and that away and... Ah! That's better. How do you do? How do you do? Fine job of work you two have done here. Yes.
I told you he'd do tricks for us.
Tricks? Good gracious, yes.
Oh,
What's the matter?
Father will think I did it.
Oh, well then we'll have to do something about that. Now, here's another little trick for you.
Oh, please wait till I get Mother. I'll have to see you. Please wait. Mother, we finished the snowman. He's alive, isn't he?
Children,
He
please.
shook hands and took the snowball.
Darlings, you heard what your father said. You can't make believe all the time.
But this isn't make-believing. He came to life. Come and see for yourself. Snowman, come and see the snowman.
All right, but you know as well as I do that he's just a lump of snow. Oh, darlings, it's lovely, just like a real live man.
But he is a real life man. He really is.
Fitz, you must understand. Making
But
believe...
it isn't making believe. It's believing. It's seeing. If you don't want to believe it...
I do want to believe it. I want to believe all kinds of wonderful, foolish things with you.
You mustn't be afraid of her. It's only Mother, and she's nice.
Nice. Is she really?
If I were a snowman, I don't suppose I'd come to life for anybody that wouldn't believe in me.
All right, I'll try.
This is Mr. Snowman, Mother. This is Mother. Do try and believe, Mother.
How do you do? It's charming to know you.
Madame, this is a great honor. I wasn't precisely prepared to meet grown-ups, you know. No, grown-ups can be very difficult at times, but this young lady assured me that you are fun, that you won't mind a bit.
Why should I mind?
Why, indeed. I'm quite harmless, you know. Yeah. Still, Lewis Carroll had a very good head on his shoulders, and you remember what he said. When dealing with pigments, it's wise and it's right to describe each particular batch, distinguishing those that have feathers and bite from those that have whiskers and scratch. Not that there's any such question about me, you know. No, no, no. I'm what you might call a strolling player. Yeah. I do a little step. Quite simple, you know. It's all in the know-how, you see. Of course, if you prefer the classical...
But where did you come?
Come from? Oh, I thought you'd ask that. You're essentially a grown-up, you know. Not to a fault, mind you, no. No, where? Where did I come from? Now, let's see. How shall I put it? Well, to begin with, the space. Space is all around us. It belongs to everybody. They do with what they like. Now, here's a bit of space, if you care to examine it. Lots of it, everywhere you look. Oh, and then there's time. Time's even more confusing. There are so many kinds of time. Time you can measure in clock ticks. Time you measure heartbeats. Minutes as long as hours. Hours as short as minutes. And then there's infinity. Oh, infinity. Oh, that always makes my head spin. Oh. Hey, quite clear to you now?
I think so.
Good. Well, now, just once in a while, by being perfectly simple, perfectly innocent, by wanting something to happen, expecting it to happen, it's possible to snatch your notion out of space and time, to capture a happy thought, and to give it a rather splendid habitation.
But you're not.
Real? What's real? Real today and gone tomorrow, I always say. Yeah. Oh, my dear lady, you must be cold out here without your wraps. We can't all be snowmen, you know. Why don't you go inside the house?
Let's all go in.
What, me too?
Of course.
It's rude of me. Please come in.
Oh, this is most kind of you, dear lady. Most kind. Not that I mind the cold. No. The cold shoulder, yes. The cold and fishy eye, yes. But a fine, freezing winter's day. Oh, no. Delicious. Actually, I'd never been inside a house, you know. No, you know how it is. The snowman ought to know his place, some people say. And I must confess, I've always been curious. Oh, so this is what it's like.
Don't you think our house is nice?
Oh, very cozy, yes. Solid, too. You must sit down a great deal. Of course, I've never tried sitting down myself. I've never had anything to sit on.
Why don't you try it?
Eh? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, quite a good idea. Yes, Who's that? Oh, it's only another me. Of course, I could make believe one of me is somebody else.
Make believe.
What's up?
You said make believe.
Well, why not? Don't you ever make believe you're someone else for a change? Say, Lily Langtry, or a Persian kitten, or Teddy Roosevelt, or a robin flying south for the winter? Oh, it can't be much fun just being yourself all the time.
My husband says that it isn't very sensible making believe all the time, that it's bad for children.
Bad for children? Oh, now, where do you suppose the man got that idea? Well, let's look at it this way, my dear lady. What is a child, first of all? A child starts as a dream, a fancy. No more real than, well, present company accepted, of course. No, my dear lady, a baby is born in a dream. Wrapped up safe, coddled, kissed, cooed at, protected from the world. But sooner or later, poor little chap, he has to accept the world as it is. Yes, he has to grow up and face the whole nasty business. And he does it, little by little. If he doesn't like it, doesn't like being who he is, for instance, why, then there's make-believe to take him out of it for a bit. Bad for children. Oh, dear me, no.
Well, I hadn't thought about it quite like that. I suppose when reality does become unbearable...
Well, there's nothing colder or harder than cold, hard facts. And the best way to deal with them is to expose them as the frauds that they are. Kind of dream them away. Like this. Now, there. Now, will you hold your arms like this? That's it. Do you remember a very charming little puppy called Spot?
Poor little Spotty. He ate the rat poison and...
Who's that child?
Spot! Spotty!
And you. There was a little doll called Mary Ann who could close her eyes and say, Mama.
Mary Ann fell into the fire and was all burned up.
Yes, I know, but... And yet...
Oh, Mary Ann.
It's quite simple when you understand it. It has to do with seeing and believing, which are all mixed up together, and with love and with happiness. Now, a happy moment lasts forever. For instance, there is the moment when young James Lindsey came a-courting. That's a happy moment to have around, isn't it? It was spring, of course. Oh, and here is James Lindsey. Such a nice young man.
Are those for me, James?
Calls to Newcastle, Miss Helen. It's almost foolish to give you flowers because you're so like a flower yourself.
Why, that's quite like poetry. I had no idea.
I wish I were a poet, Miss Helen. then I might be able to say the things I want to say. How can I tell you what I mean? Day after day, I dream of you. I picture you as my wife, Miss Helen. I picture myself always near you to protect you and give you the tenderness and understanding that you're right. Miss Helen, I love you. Will you please marry me?
Yes, Jane. Do you think it wise or kind to bring back things that have been destroyed?
Destroyed? Nothing you love can be destroyed. No, what you cherish and believe in, and what you love. These things and these people are all there somewhere, if only you know how to find them.
It's very confusing.
Confusing, I grant you. To you, each hour is a separate room. You go in and close the door behind you. You don't know what's beyond the other door, the one at the far end. But if all the walls and doors were glass... Oh, now take a little spot here. Time you took him back to the room where you left him. Oh, there'll be other puppies in the rooms you haven't come to yet. A soft, independent, and loving.
Oh.
It's just a matter of reaching out of the was into the will be. And you'll come to dolls just as beautiful.
Oh.
Yes. The future's much more fun than the past, isn't it? Yeah. It's a little hard to explain. I'm afraid it involves ideas that haven't been thought of yet. These are all things you can see, but there are other things that you can't see just now.
Like Santa Claus?
Precisely.
Do you know about Santa Claus?
Know about him? Why, he and I have been friends for years. When I first knew him, he hadn't even invented wind-up toys.
But Father said...
Nothing against the old chap, I hope. No, stories get around, you know. Like that nonsense about his leaving lumps of coal for naughty children. Nothing in it at all. A kinder old boy you'll never meet. He wouldn't punish anyone with lumps of coal. Besides, he has his heating problems up at the North Pole. Catch him giving away lumps of coal he needs for his fires. Someone at the gate?
Must be Father.
Back already? Oh, time we were putting things back in their place. A place for everything and everything in its place, eh? Oh, just for now.
Oh, I hate snow.
No accounting for tastes.
Bills.
Father didn't even look at the snowman.
Fitz, dear.
I have the oddest feeling.
Father, we found the snowman! He's alive and he's in the parlor!
A snowman in the parlor, huh? Will you please ask your mother to step in here? At once.
Yes, sir. Do you mind if I put the hat away now? It's Father's and he's not in a very good mood.
Oh, not a bit. I have a feeling I won't be needing it much longer. Well, here today and gone tomorrow, I always say.
Now then, in spite of everything I've said, this make-believe is still going on.
Is it only make-believe?
You know perfectly well it is, and I want it stopped.
Violet said this morning that she wondered if you had ever been a little boy. I'm not so sure myself. Have you forgotten what it's like to be a child, always surrounded by grown-ups, telling you to do this and this, and forbidding you to do that and that? All the unkindnesses, the bitter disappointment, the unfairness.
I am always scrupulously fair. I simply want them to face facts.
Do you ever stop to think of the facts that a child has to face? Well, he starts facing them when he leaves the cradle. Do you blame him if he takes them slowly? When he doesn't like who he is or where he is, there's always make-believe to take him out of it.
I've never cared for make-believe.
Haven't you? There was a young man once who brought me flowers. Do you know what he said? He said, I picture you as my wife. I picture myself always near you. You see, he was making believe, too. He said, I picture myself always near you to give you tenderness and understanding. I wonder whatever happened to that young man.
don't wish to criticize, of course. But your father is disturbingly matter of fact, isn't he?
What's the matter with you? Oh, you're melting.
Melt? Oh, no. Not I. The snow is melting, I agree. The very handsome image you built for me is melting, but not I. Not a bit of it.
It's the fire. Please come away from the fire.
Hmm? Well, maybe it's the fire, or maybe it's just something in the atmosphere. But there's nothing to worry about. Really, there isn't. You can destroy snow, wood, flesh and blood, but I'm made of something much more durable. I am something you thought of, and that nobody can take away from you. Let the snow melt, but I'll be around and about. You can be certain of that. Perhaps once in a while, I'll give you a secret sign we'll keep to ourselves. Perhaps I'll whistle, like this. And when you hear that, you'll know I'm there, even if you don't see me. Well, I'm off now. Can't thank you enough. It's been fun.
Suppose we just call it childish imagination. Not that I approve, of course. I don't think it'll do any harm if they don't take it too seriously.
Thank you, James. James,
What is it, dear?
there's something I ought to tell you. I saw a snowman in there, too.
Oh, really, dear? Well, now, children, have you been having a good time?
Yes, Father.
That's good. By the Lord Harry, you must have tracked in half the snow in the neighborhood. It's all melting in one great puddle. All right, look here, you dropped your little heart locket. You ladies must be more careful about their hearts. Lift up your curls, darling. Here we go. Now you've got your heart back, and you'll be more careful with it in the future, won't you? Come now, let's have some Christmas cheer for Christmas time. What would Santa Claus say? I'll wager he's up at the North Pole this very minute, loading his sleigh and grooming his reindeer and getting all ready to pay us a visit.
Thank you, James.